Today is D-Day, and I'm not talking about a World War II documentary, I'm talking about Dumble Day. Today, I'm gonna be building a $100,000 plus rig for one of my great friends in Hawaii. We're gonna be building it around his Dumble Overdrive Special. And if you know anything about these amps, Dumbles have been going well over $100,000, and when you include the price of all the pedals and all the power supplies and items that we used and materials for this rig, we have quite an expensive rig that's being built today. I'm also going to be showing you today some really easy tips on how to organize your workflow while doing a pedal board so that you can have all of your power cabling routed in one direction so that it beautifully lines up and you have nice clean lines for your cables, whether it's your DC power cables or your audio cables. I can't wait to get into this one. $100,000 rig, here we come. My name is Mason Marangella. I build rigs for the industry's top professionals. Now I'm teaching guitarists how to build rigs like the pros with DIY tips, easy mods, and all the tricks of the trade. I am the Rig Doctor. Before we get started on this, I'm gonna give my good friend out in Hawaii a call. I need to get straight about some of the things that he's gonna be sending me before it gets here so that I know exactly what I need to be prepared for in terms of building this rig. Just get a few questions for clarification, and then we'll get right into the building process. We'll skip ahead to once the pedals have arrived, so stay tuned. So we've been in conversation through email. You've listed the pedals for me, and I know that they're on their way over right now from Hawaii, but other than me just putting these pedals on the board, what's the real intent here? What's the goal that you'd like to have achieved by the end of the build?
Something really small. A couple of boosts are nice with this amp, but it doesn't need bells and whistles. It doesn't need a lot of help.
Looking forward to the big reveal here in a few weeks' time and see what you think. So the rig here is for my good friend. He's really just looking for something to go with his Dumble Overdrive Special. As you can see, it's very abbreviated, very simple. He's got a kind of a dumbulator that he's got all of his wet effects in. So this is just what's going in front of the amp. Very, very simple. The signal path is tuner, then it goes to the RC booster, steel string, then goes over to the volume pedal, and then the ditto looper, and then out to the amps. This is just a really simple setup. It's just kind of his core tones, and then of course we have the Dumble foot switch. We built a custom interface to feed this through so that he can plug in and plug out the actual DIN cable that goes into the amplifier itself. So this was just a way to create sort of an extension, because originally the cable was hardwired into this foot switch. This allows him to unplug it so that he doesn't have to have the full coil of cable. And so we just replaced essentially one end with a MIDI side so that would correspond with the MIDI connectors that we used here. And then of course the amplifier side stays the same. So this just allows him to adapt this to make it a little bit more pedalboard friendly. So when he unplugs power and he unplugs his instrument cables, he's got everything just contained within this board. So we're going to proceed now that we got the layout to our power. And again, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to power. So very, very simple. We're using the True Tone CS7 for this. And let's get started. A lot of you have been asking about routing procedures and kind of best practices in order to keep your cable runs nice and neat. And I've always said you really need to start on one side and work toward the other, or start on one extreme and kind of work toward the power supply. So I kind of started here over at the volume pedal, and I kind of started my run going this way toward the power supply, and equally started at the extreme over here with the steel string, and then routed it up with the RC booster. Now one thing you can see here very clearly, this is so I cut all my cables to length. I just cut them basically to where the center tip would feed in with maybe a little extra slack. So then that way it's really easy for me then to just come back, solder these, and I can only fit the actual lead into a specific hole on the power supply. So there's no way I can get my wires mixed up because this lead couldn't fit over here. Likewise, this one would be too long for this side. So I'm just actually going to do that uniformly. Now all these take about 200 milliamps or fewer. So no matter which one of these I put them on, it's going to be fine. The only thing I'm going to run 18 volts is the steel string, which is dead last, and I'm able to very clearly see which one that is. If there was any confusion, I could always mark this with some painter's tape and just write steel string on it so I knew. And if you have anything that's reverse polarity or something that's different than the norm or has an extra amount of milliamps that it takes greater than the norm, you can always mark that out so you know to make that lead dress into the appropriate output on your power supply. So what we've done is I've soldered all the cables. Again, I solder these in place. I just set over the top of kind of the pedals and anything sensitive on the pedal board, just a rag that I have here, non-abrasive. I set my stand on top of that, and then I just soldered everything right in its place. And I cut a few zip ties just to give me a little bit more slack. But now we have everything assembled. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to re-zip tie these kind of where they were, and I'm just going to dress them into place. I'm going to label what each of these are, and then we'll move on to doing audio. Hey, I just have a quick question here on the signal routing. Do you want me to wire the tuner in series so that it can act as a mute? In other words, do you want to be able to step on the tuner and have it mute the entire signal, or do you want it running all the time? Yeah. And then I was thinking the last thing before it comes out would be the ditto looper. You know, I was just thinking if it was on a pedal board with everything, you would usually put the volume pedal before the looper pedal, because the looper would be dead last.
I just use the volume pedal just as an overall master volume. It doesn't affect my tone or... Right,
but in terms of like if you had looped yourself, would you want it to attenuate the loop as well?
No, the whole thing. I could. That's a great question. I'd like it to affect the looper.
Okay, so we'll make the volume pedal the last thing before it hits the front of the amp.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to clarify that. All right, I'm on it. So we're now finished with the rig. Everything is completed, the audio is wired, the power is wired, it is looking great, but we still need to do an audio test. I've invited over my friend Alex Doty. He's gonna come over and play some stuff through one of my 335s. We're gonna be using the Ultraphonics Overdrive as sort of our Dumble emulator since we don't have a Dumble on premises, so we're gonna use that to sort of emulate the tone, and we're just gonna see how it sounds through the few pedals that are on this particular rig, so stay tuned. That sounded incredible. Alex did a great job of demonstrating some of the key iconic Dumble sounds, stuff that was a little bit more bluesy inspired, a little fusion inspired. I was really happy with the way that it sounded, and although the Ultraphonics is not a Dumble, it's about as close as it can get, being that it was voiced after several authentic Dumble Overdrive specials. I'm so excited to unveil this for my good friend out in Hawaii. I'm gonna give him a call now on FaceTime and let's see what he thinks. All right, so I have the board here. It's completely done. Are you ready to see your brand new Dumble pedal board?
Yeah.
All right, here it is.
Baby boy, okay. Yeah, no, that looks great, Mason.
Well, cool. Well, I'm gonna hop off now, and we can get all the shipping details worked out for this thing. But I'm so glad that you dig it, and this was such a cool project. You know, I love working with the Dumble amplifiers, and so I'm glad this is gonna be used with the real deal.
Thanks, Mason.
My pleasure. Bye. So there you have it. Another satisfied customer. In fact, this rig is already back in Hawaii and it is being enjoyed by my buddy. He says he loves the pedal board, he loves what it does, he loves the compact size. So I'm so happy that we were able to get this complete for him and we were able to make it work for that $100,000 plus rig. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and lasting all the way through to this point. Now, I hope by the end of this that you've learned a few things about the best practices around cable routing, how to start at one extreme and work toward another, whether that's routing your power cables into a power supply or routing your audio cables into a switcher or just in series. This is a really easy thing for you to apply on your own DIY rig. And if you have any questions about how to do this, feel free to ask us questions in the comments below and we would be happy to give you some other examples or give you some advice on your particular rig. Now, if you want to support the channel even further, an easy way for you to do that is just give us a comment, and subscribe, and also hit that bell icon when you subscribe. That just gives you a notification each time we come out with a new video. If you want to continue even beyond that, you can check out our website at vertexeffects.com. I've linked our store page in the description below so you can see all of the pedal offerings that we have, from overdrives to distortions to boosters, all analog products with a lifetime warranty guaranteed. Please stay tuned for more content along these lines with more tricks and tips for DIYers like me and you. Until next time, I'm Uncle Mason, the Rig Doctor. Adios.